we've seen players names ending with A and E not faring good with the triple captain. So if you remember Sane and Mane, they weren't so good. So just be careful with Kane and triple captain.
But he's not Kane. The pronunciation matters too.
Okay, maybe, but I'll just keep it to A and E for now. So just keep Michael Keane also out of that discussion. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Escapades. My name is Kshitij, and as always, I'm joined by Anand and Akshay to discuss FPL assets for Double Game Week 26. Akshay, Anand, welcome back, boys. It's been some time again that we've all three sat down together. How has it been going? I mean, I'd like to start with Akshay because I have, like sort of hidden jealousy in a mini league that the boy from last year is back claiming bragging rights again. Akshay, welcome back, man. How has FPL been? Clearly great, but how good?
It's been a great last couple of game weeks too. Not exactly last game week because I banked on Rafinha and Bamford for the double, but eventually it was Dallas who turned out to be the hero, and I did not have him. But Bamford and Rafinha giving the points, not as much as Dallas, but just surviving the green arrow. So it was a small green arrow for me, and yeah, looking forward to game week 26, which is probably the biggest double game week ever as per band credence. So couldn't be more excited. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure you wouldn't be able to hide your excitement given that you're amassing points thick and through. Anand, coming to you, man. Welcome back. Great talking to you again. How have your couple of game weeks been?
Yeah, decent one. Game week 25 was not so great. Decent. Probably got around 70 points in that game week where everybody was scoring 100. Last game week it got 95. So yeah, last game week 26 was decent again for me. Yeah, looking forward to just like Akshay said, the biggest ever double game week. At least that we can recall, and yeah, a good one to come ahead.
Absolutely, and absolutely looking forward to the double game week and also the thoughts behind Akshay when he plays his Wildcard, something that we'll talk later. But to get this episode underway, let's get into business by talking about the essentials for the upcoming double game week 26. Anand, this time I'll let you start, man. You always end up getting the last picks. Uh, the table is yours. Who are your essential picks for double game week 26?
Well, regarding the midfielders, I think the most informed player is Bruno, and has to be this guy because he's also topping the chart for FPL midfielders, be it goal creation action, or be it FPL points directly. So he is a really good pick, in my opinion. Coming to defenders, I think the most complete defender this season, okay, barring a few defensive hiccups, I think is Cancelo. He's creating a lot of goals, as seen in the Champions League as well, where he assisted for the first one and played a really big part for the goal that City scored against Mönchengladbach. So yeah, Cancelo is one that rings all the right bells. Regarding keepers, can we just stop discussing this bit? I think since game week 2, since the time Villa has started playing, Martinez has been a big rock for them at the back. And despite having a dull game week with the standards that he has set, despite him having a dull game week 25, I think with Villa having two fixtures in game week 26, Martinez will again be one of the standout choices for goalkeepers. While coming to forwards, I think the really good list over here. I'll let you guys talk more about this because I have none from these three, and probably I'll have none when it comes to transfers. I'll probably not bring in any of them because I'm pretty content with the strikers that I have. But yes, apart from these three, I think Watkins is a good shout again. Like Martinez has two fixtures, and going into double game week 26, and these fixtures are not so difficult as he's playing Leeds and Sheffield. So Watkins is somebody, but yeah, really great list overall over here. coming to you guys, what do you think, boys, about Essentials? What's your pick going into game week 26?
So I'm pretty interested in Tottenham assets all over again. Given that Leeds also have two fixtures, Tottenham arguably have the better ones. Uh, I feel that given Grealish's condition, right? If he is deemed to be unfit, I'm definitely going for a double whammy in Son and Kane. I'm almost certain that I'm going to get in Kane for either Antonio now because I already have Suchek, or either Ings. But Ings has a double game in the next game week, so that is something that is making me think that Antonio. I'm leaning more towards Antonio for Kane. I have ample in the bank. Yeah, but as you said, Anand, I completely agree. Bruno has been the talk of the town ever since he has stepped onto the Premier League. Very difficult to run away from him not being in your team with as high as ownership of 60.4. I think many managers might go for captaining him. Maybe I personally am torn. A little revelation here between triple captaining either Kane, Son, or Bruno. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Akshay, what do you feel, man? What do you have to say about the essentials in 26?
Yeah, so when I look at the essentials, personally, when I'm playing a wildcard, so probably have at least three or four of them. So currently on my wildcard draft, I do have Kane and DCL up front. So the only reason I am eyeing that partnership up front is because Spurs they face Burnley and Fulham, and those sides are actually low block sides. So I do not fancy Young Min Son to get as many points as Harry Kane there. So just a choice between Kane and Son because I personally don't want to go with the double after seeing what Jose has said in interviews wherein they clearly plan to prioritize the Europa League. And I see that when Spurs go in early into a game, like go into a lead, they'll probably just see out the lead in the game and they'll not be as explosive as you expect them to be. So that is where my thinking is with respect to Kane and Son. So coming to midfielders, I think Bruno is outright one of the best captaincy choices. Despite him facing Chelsea, the fixture against Crystal Palace, like alone, is enough to captain him. So he might give you a 15-20 pointer there itself. So looking away from Bruno is like a huge nightmare for me. But currently still in my wildcard draft, so I don't plan to remove him. And I totally agree with Anand, like talking about Cancelo, wherein he's been City's go-to man when it comes to creating from defenders, because Walker hasn't been as fruitful when it comes to attack. So Cancelo has probably slotted in midfield at times and bombing down the left. So we saw that with an assist for Sterling yesterday. And the only concern with Cancelo you might have is that he has a lot of options at fullback in Zinchenko and Mendy. So the odd rotation risk is always there. And in a double game week, you would ideally want players who probably start both games. So Stones being rested yesterday is actually a positive. So I'm probably holding on to Stones as well because I see him playing both the double game week games. And yeah, that's where my plan right now is. So just going one on between Kane and Son, and yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, and a great point between the Son and Kane point difference that might be we might see in the coming game week. But we haven't really spoken about Salah and Liverpool as a whole. Our heartfelt condolences to Allison for losing his father earlier today. But Anand, how do you think the Liverpool team might take this? I mean, given a change in the keeper and the situation that he is in, the teammate is in, do you feel that Liverpool might come all guns blazing, or will they have some shambles in the defense now?
So, as per Liverpool, I think they really have a decent game week coming into 26. They're playing Sheffield and then they'll be playing Chelsea. And Chelsea, they do not have the best of defenders. And Salah on his day can be really explosive, plus he's on penalties. And yes, the thing about Liverpool right now is because they're conceding a lot of goals, and sometimes when you concede an early goal, it kind of can shatter your mentality playing the entire match. And this season they've had a lot of setbacks, and so it might be even more of a setback if they concede early in these matches. But see, the quality is there, and the game that Liverpool are trying to play is not bad at all. They are still ranking one of the highest teams in terms of XG, so they are creating loads of chances up top when it comes to near the goal line area. But yes, the Liverpool boys have to step up. Sometimes when the teams are defending deep, it becomes really difficult for them to open the gates, and all they rely on are the crosses from Trent and Robertson. But I think the likes of Salah, Mane, they have to just come to the party even a little bit more with their movements or with their clinical finishing. Let's see how it goes. Keeping Salah in your team is not a bad option at all. But because you can probably just have four midfielders, there are plenty of midfielders out there. Even Kevin De Bruyne coming back, and he was rested in the Champions League, didn't play a single minute. So Kevin De Bruyne is again a decent pick. So is probably Rashford and Sterling, who are in form right now. So see, Salah is 12.6. So there are other midfielders in the same price bracket that you can go for or are probably cheaper. And regarding Son, I just wanted to add a simple bit here. What I've noticed about Spurs is if you're going for Kane, then it's not a bad ploy to go with Son as well because they usually return in pairs. So if Kane's scoring, it's probably Son who's going to give the assist, or if Son's scoring, it's probably going to be Kane's turn to give an assist. So what do you think, guys, regarding not just Salah, but probably even the likes of De Bruyne, Sterling, or Rashford as one of the players for midfielders in the essential category?
Interestingly enough, you did not speak about Mane. You did not mention him there. Akshay, what do you feel? Is Mane worth the shout, or Sterling, Son, Rashford? Those make a better case for you?
Like I personally feel removing Salah would be a huge mistake in double game week 26 because you know what he can do on his day, and he has a knack of scoring against Chelsea. So if you remember that amazing goal he scored against Chelsea from outside the D box, and he followed up with a celebration like this. So he has that knack of scoring against Chelsea as well. So if people look at that game as a difficult fixture, I would probably rubbish that out with just his form against Chelsea. And against Sheffield United, Liverpool could go like bananas against them on any other day. So the only thing they need is that their players click. And the return of Diogo Jota is something that is being heavily overlooked in the FPL community. And what I feel is Jota could be a massive differential going forward because he is available for a cheap price of 6.4 or 6.5, and him coming back into full training, which was yesterday. So you could see Jota feature in some of those games. And talking about Sterling, I think he was removed yesterday as well, pretty early into the game. So that clearly points that Pep plans to play him in probably both the double game week games. So he could be an interesting shout, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, a lot of essential picks when you actually look deep, but we can only fill in so many. But yeah, with that, I think we've talked a lot about the essentials and the kind of players that managers should look definitely to have in their teams. But now moving on to the next section, let's talk about the differential. So Akshay, give it a shot, man. Now you have the table. Who are you eyeing as a differential? Because I'm sure playing the wild card, you would want to make a great team, all-rounded team to play, say, bench boost in the future. So, what are your thoughts going into double game week 26 as differential picks, and maybe what are your thoughts when you look at game week 27 and 28?
Yeah, so my thinking here is when I was looking at the Kings of the Game Week, which Budweiser puts out after every game week. So that is basically nothing but the highest point scorer of the game week. So in the last 9 game weeks, I think 8 of them have been defenders. And what I feel is that pattern might continue this week because we have a few teams with juicy double game week fixtures. So one could be Manchester City, and the person that I am targeting is Ricardo Pereira. So Ricardo Pereira is like a huge fan favorite of the FPL community ever since Ronaldinho put out that thread, and it absolutely like boomed. So just keeping one eye on Leicester's squad tomorrow in the Europa game against Slavia Prague. So if they don't feature any of Pereira or Castagna, I think those could be interesting options because they have amazing fixtures leading to game week 29. So you can probably just hold on to them till game week 29, and The interesting thing with Pereira is, so there are two things here. So the one thing with Castagna coming back into the fold and Luke Thomas playing left back is Pereira is playing up top, not just right back. He's actually playing right wing. And the other thing that I was looking at is his minutes are going to be managed. So you might get lucky with his substitution after say 65 or 70 minutes, and he banks a clean sheet. So that's where the thinking right now is with respect to Pereira. And coming to another Pereira, which is Matthias Pereira. So we saw how Matthias Pereira fared in the other double game week. So this could be an interesting game week for him as well, because West Brom, they look like a decent side all over again with some new recruits in one of the defensive midfielders and 𝗘𝗦𝗦𝗘𝗡𝗧𝗜𝗍 as well. So those guys are actually playing well, and that team looks like a great unit right now. So Matthias Pereira could be a great interesting option.
Interesting picks, and really would love to look forward to if who you go with as the differential. Maybe Jota, maybe somebody else. But for me, I think Jesus is somebody that managers might look into, given, like, as you correctly pointed out, actually they have both of them are like a juicy fixtures wherein we can see a lot of goals going through, and given the form that City is in, I mean, it is a pick with KDB also back. It is either KDB, Sterling, Jesus, either of them, or Mahrez for that matter, giving returns, or all of them. So that is generally on kind of how your stars align for that. But definitely both Jesus and Mahrez are definitely on my differential list. A tinkering still needed in my team. Might get one of them. Most likely not. Go with Kane and Son. But if Akshay, like you said, if Son can be overlooked, given what Mourinho has clearly stated about Europa, I think Mahrez might look a good shout. But also there is Gundogan and Foden. We'll talk about them in the GP section. Uh, Anand, you have like we have like Maitland, Niles also, like Johnston. How is your love affair with Johnston going along? I do you have still have him in your team?
No, I don't have him. I removed him for Nick Pope a couple of game weeks back, and I've been really happy with that move because he has ended up giving more points than Johnston. But I think this can be the game week for Johnston, for all the managers who have like patiently waited for his return, because he's playing Brighton and Everton. Both fixtures are at home, and Big Sam's team really need a victory. They probably need 7 victories in the last 13 to avoid relegation. So if it has to start, it has to probably start from this game week onwards. And Maitland-Niles, like Pereira from Leicester, he's playing OOP, which is out of position. And that is something which is really intriguing to see about how it impacts his game. He came pretty close in the last game week to score as well. And he's an athlete. So he will keep on running for the entire 90 minutes. No lazy game from this flag. So pretty interesting one, but yeah, Castagna is again, for people who don't know, he had a stellar season last year with Atlanta, and he is pretty known for scoring and assisting. And even this year, before he had a torrid time with injuries, he was returning with goals and assists. Plus, with Leicester, you can also expect a clean sheet or two in this game week. So, like, pretty decent options for differentials, and also can come out to be really high scoring ones. Regarding strikers, I think the most complete striker in this list has to be Cavani. Probably not just in this list, but probably in the Premier League. Age is not with him. That's unfortunate. But the movement this guy has clearly is outshining him when we compare him with all the other forwards. He is an injury concern. We'll have to wait on him. But yeah, if he's fit, then yeah, against Palace and Chelsea, he came pretty close last time when he played Chelsea. Scoring. 𝗘𝗏𝗙𝗧𝗏 was there to block all his shots. But let's see how it turns out this time. Probably Tuchel will not be as naive as Lampard was. Lampard was pretty defensive. He was holding a low block. I hope Tuchel comes calling and
that
comes
could be in our
probably
favor
with,
as well.
yeah, if he does so. A really great point that Amit, Suryansh and Akshat were making in the player review session that I just watched, and they said that probably if Tuchel goes with a 3-5-2, Oli might just mirror that and play Rashford and Cavani up top. And if that's the case, it's going to be really amazing. And then Crystal Palace to follow, who have been, although they somehow won against Brighton, but the tail with Brighton and their misery with wins is another thing. Brighton playing so well, but just somehow can't win it. But that is why Crystal Palace were a little lucky in that match, and Brighton dominated that match. So I expect United to dominate again against Crystal Palace. Yeah, that's most likely my pick. Pickford is a concern for me because Ancelotti just in the press conference he just said that he might rotate his keepers throughout the season. Although Pickford had a great match against Liverpool, but you never know what's going to happen with Pickford. What about you guys? Any other strong picks that you feel is good for differentials going into Game Week 26?
Now, I personally feel that the assets that we've listed here do make a really strong case, and I'm absolutely with you in that when you talk about Cavani, Bruno, Rashford, Cavani, anyone from United can give returns. Most likely, all of them will. Given okay, Chelsea is in a good run of form, but I think United having the history this season against Chelsea, I am favouring United in that. And as Anand, you rightly pointed out, against Crystal Palace, I expect United to score a lot. Akshay, do you have any other special shout-outs for differentials?
No, just an addition on United and the two sides that we are facing. So we've massively improved, like from the attacking side when it comes to set pieces. So Luke Shaw and Bruno delivering amazing crosses from both flanks. So Crystal Palace are a side who are absolutely vulnerable when it comes to aerial balls. So you could see Cavani get those aerial chances on corners or set pieces.
Yeah, will be interesting to see definitely, and a lot of differentials do make a good case to be in your team. But yeah, now if I've heard a lot of buzz on Twitter that a lot of managers might be really eager to play bench boost, and if you're one of those managers, you certainly need to fill in your bench with really good, cheap FPL assets, and that is what we're going to talk about next. So looking at cheapies, definitely I just look at Neto and Traore, and I feel that they're the kind of football that these guys play individually on this level is such great to watch with so much strength, and Neto with like touching his form so good with finishing and great balls for assists as well. Even though Jimenez has not been around for a couple of weeks now, he and at that time also Neto, stood up and helped Wolves get crucial wins. With Traore as well, Aston Villa have 2 game weeks. Grealish, if he plays, great. If he does not, I think El Ghazi and Traore are two certain shouts for being great cheapies for the double game week. Like we were mentioning Foden and Gundogan 6.1 each. Just narrowly missing out from our criteria of cheapies, but definitely certainly great shout outs with the kind of form Gundogan has been in and Foden as well. But yeah, I had this question, Anand. I directed this to you. With KDB returning to fitness, do you think that Gundogan's time is now gone in the attacking front?
That's a very difficult one to answer because he's making all the right moves. He's playing like a fox in the box, making lots of late runs. But one thing I noticed about Gundogan when he just came probably after the Champions League match, what he said was he is playing forward because the manager asked him to do so, and that was his role. But probably the manager can take back that role and give it back to KDB or because Bernardo has been playing really well and Gundogan has the capability of playing a little bit behind, but not Bernardo. Bernardo has to play up top, and Bernardo is having a great season once again. So yes, it is a little bit of a risk, but the price at what Gundo comes in, he can easily be a fifth midfielder. But yeah, I don't think we can depend on Gundogan to be the fourth midfielder. I could be wrong here, absolutely. Also, he played the entire 90 minutes against Mönchengladbach. So yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. Will he start because he's just coming back from an injury as well. He just tweaked his groin a little bit. So the kind of form that City are in, managing to win so many matches, 19 wins on the trot, and most of them without KDB. So I don't think if Pep has a leisure to bench Gundogan because he has so many good midfielders up there. Even Mahrez didn't play the last match. KDB didn't play. So I expect these boys to come back at least in the first match of the double game week. But yes, Gundogan, he doesn't need a second match, right? You guys know that pretty well. In the last double game week, he gave 19 points in just one match. He missed the second, but that one match was good enough to match the FPL returns of two matches. So Gundogan is a really great shout. But yeah, I think now it's time to consider him as your fifth midfielder, but not the fourth, because the big boys are back in town.
Yeah. Akshay, what do you feel about the GPs? Who do you feel that might be make the greatest case for being on your bench?
Personally, when I look at GPs, I think I spoke about West Brom improving their form in the last few game weeks. So another team that has actually improved their style of play and their displays on the pitch are actually Fulham. So with the addition of Josh Maja up front, so you might remember this guy from the documentary Sunderland Till I Die, where they did not want to lose him, but they had to because of the situation of the club. So he was actually a great player, and Sunderland expected him to go the distance when it comes to Premier League and at the highest stage. So him featuring in the Premier League is actually good to see, and he's actually played really well up front. So Josh Maja is someone at 5.5 you might look to hold him for game week 29 as well, where he plays Leeds. So keeping that in mind, and I've seen multiple player like people talking about playing the wild card with only game week 26 in mind because this is the biggest double game week. So from my point of view, I also have an eye on game week 29 because once you use the wild card, you don't have any other way around your team. So the only way is one free transfer. So you cannot just go to game week 29 and use all your free transfers all the way. So my thinking is just to keep some players who are actually featuring in game week 29. So that's where my thinking with Josh Maja and another defender who's Ola Aina. So he's actually impressed in the last few game weeks ever since the boys mentioned him in the player review. So another double game week for him, and Fulham have improved defensively. So he might get lucky with another clean sheet. So that's what the thinking right now is.
Yeah, makes sense. And I see like we have Traore, Target, and Konsa from Aston Villa, given that they have such great fixtures. I personally do already own Target, and I have Grealish and Emmy as well. So yeah, somebody if Grealish is fit, I'm definitely not gonna ship him out for Son. If he's unfit, then I might. But yeah, with the like a lot of great GPs, and really you do require them in your team to fill up your bench, and especially when you plan to play bench boost in the final, we are the final third of the season already. Yeah, and now after looking at great cheap FPL assets as well, it is time for one blockbuster question. Akshay, the floor is yours. Talk to me through your wildcard strategy and who are the FPL assets that you're targeting.
Yeah, so this is my current wildcard draft. I haven't hit the wildcard button yet, just to be clear to all our listeners. So just keeping all the team news in mind with respect to European fixtures and the fixtures that are going around. And as I spoke earlier, planning to feature some of the players who are playing in game week 29. So that's why I'm targeting Ola Aina up there. So the team right now that I'll probably be playing is Martinez in goal, Pereira, Stones, and Cancelo in defense, and a midfield four of Barnes, Salah, Fernandez, and Gundogan. And Rafinha, I'll probably have to bench him. So that was a difficult choice for me, whom to bench between Rafinha and Bamford, because I had those two, and one of them was actually going to go out because I don't want to have them both and waste the money when I'm on a wild card. So I will plan to have Bamford back very soon, and the plan is basically just to ship him out for the Dominic Calvert-Lewin in game week 29. And if you see Leeds fixtures from 29, they face Fulham in 29, and they also have Sheffield United in 30. So that's a clear swap for me. So like I'll just give you a brief idea of what I was thinking. So the thinking behind this was just to be ready for game week 29 as well, but not go totally heavy on game week 29 because they do not have as good as fixtures as you want in a blank game week. So just keeping some of them players in Spurs and Aston Villa. So Ollie Watkins is up there, and Grealish not featuring could be a worry for Watkins, but if Aston Villa are to get their goals, it could be Ollie Watkins up front, and that's where the thinking is. along with him featuring in the next few game weeks. So yeah, like I would like to know what you guys think about this.
I, for one, really great picks. Barnes a pretty interesting pick. I do personally feel that if I would go to for a Leicester asset, would have gone for Vardy or Castagna like we spoke instead. But yeah, definitely Pereira. I can get behind Pereira. Barnes is, I somehow feel that he has
It's a
hit his
bandwagon
good
pick.
patch of form. Yeah, I think so. Look
No,
like it,
but when a player is hot in form, I think you should actually jump on him rather than repent on not bringing him in. And Madison being injured is actually a favor in favor of Barnes because he becomes the out and out supplier to Wadi.
yeah, that makes sense as well.
But is
Uh,
he? But is he a good supplier?
Good question.
I'm not actually banking on him supplying, so him playing against Bellerin, that's what I'm seeing right now. And I think he could find some space down the right hand side of the Arsenal defense. Yeah.
I
I
think
also
talking
see
about
Dan Burn.
Barnes. Yeah, first you go on, and then I'll add my pick.
And I just saying that I also see Dan Burn. I mean, is he like your fifth defender? And did you just get him because he was 4.2?
Absolutely. No other thought behind that. No, but to be really honest, Solly March is injured, as Graham Potter just confirmed today. So Dan Burn could play down that left, and if you saw the last game, although he's a little clumsy with his build and with all the height he has, but he was actually creating some chances down the left with some crosses and some trickery as well. So just have some positivity and optimism in keeping him as a 4.2 player. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
I think the thing with Burn is rather the fact that Potter likes to play his wing back a little bit forward, and that is kind of
Yeah.
benefiting Burn. But also because it just feels like he's not going to last the entire match.
True,
Just
true.
somehow,
I think Lamptey is also coming back, and
oh yeah,
they also have a new signing in. I don't remember the name, but he's a Polish left back, and he could also feature in some of the games. So yeah, you're probably right in Dan Burn and that not
yeah.
lasting for long. Yeah.
I think with Burn, the thing is probably Welshman will slot into the left wing back role in the coming game week if Lamptey is fit, and Lamptey
Yeah.
will probably take up the right wing back role. Talking about Barnes, like this was the topic of concern for at least me and Kshitij. We were trying to show our concern with his pick, but interestingly, Barnes has slowly climbed up his way into the one of the top performing FPL midfielders this season. He's probably joined ranked 8th right now,
Yeah.
and just a few points behind Rashford. Also, I was just checking some of his statistics. Even in terms of shots on target per 90 minutes, he is probably again ranked 6th in terms of FPL midfielders. But yes, these data are giving a good picture as well. But at the same time, is he clinical enough? Well, in the last few game weeks, we've seen that yes, he has been scoring a few goals. If you remember the one against Liverpool, where
Yeah.
he was cut open by that beautiful ball, and he smashed it past Alisson. And in fact, in the last game week, it was more of a tap in for him. And against United, it was kind of a worldly. So yeah, he has been finishing a few chances, but then he'll be facing some teams in this game week, which is Arsenal and Burnley, and it won't be so easy against Arsenal. If Leicester score the first one, yes, it will favor Barnes because he loves space. I think he's not so good when it comes to close. When the defenders are sitting deep, I think he's not so good when that happens. But yes, if they can score first against Arsenal, then be rest assured Arsenal would like to attack as well, and that would probably benefit Barnes. But against Burnley, we all know how Burnley like to defend. So if it's a Pope, me, Tarkowski, and the newly joined Loughton master class, if that's to happen, because even Taylor is back from injury. If that's to happen, then yeah, Barnes will have a difficult time in that match as well, and especially if Madison is unfit. So I think because of Madison, it just opens up Barnes a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, he is not the best choice for me. I feel Barnes, Rashford instead of Barnes or say a Son or a KDB or a Sterling are much better picks for the double game week. Just targeting that, yeah, in my opinion.
But yeah, but those all those players are like pretty expensive, right? More costlier than Barnes, and I don't see like keeping the team that he has. How does he accommodate any other FPL asset? I mean, 6.8. Nobody really comes to mind when you see any explosive. You want to pick any explosive asset, might be missing out on something. But yeah, but Akshay, look, great team, like we've already spoken about, and great strategy also, keeping an eye on the blank game week. But yeah, again, most important question of each and every game week: who will be your captain pick?
So my captain right now is Harry Kane, and it might be debatable because Spurs don't have the form to back their fixtures. But him playing against low block sides, as I mentioned earlier, I think that's something in his favor, and his ownership is something to worry about as well. So the FPL community usually go all in on their favorites. So if Salah or Liverpool were in form, I think Salah would have been the most captain this game week. But he turns out to be a differential captain actually. If you want to take that route, so personally going planning to go safe, and that's where Harry Kane comes into my mind. But I might also be loyal to United and go with Bruno at the end. So keeping my cards folded right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I am in a similar dilemma as well, with Kane being my current captain pick, but I'm so heavily reliant, wanting to shift towards Bruno and not miss that ship if he does fire. And I'm also in the mood of debating myself if I should play triple captain this game week. What are your thoughts, Anand? I see that you have Bruno. So what? How would you, put this debate to an end between Kane and Bruno, and if it is a good time to play the triple captaincy?
I mean, knowing you guys, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of our podcast or by the time it is published, everybody ends up captaining Bruno. So that is what I personally feel because he's just having a great fixture. And the kind of points that you both mentioned about Harry Kane and so on, that they might defend after scoring the first goal, these points kinds of favors in Bruno's favor, Bruno's side. But yes, I think great picks. Everybody is a premium apart from Suryansh's Rashford pick. Rashford, I remember the last game week, last huge double game week this season was probably in game week 19. And Akshay happened to captain Rashford. And Rashford just returned with 3 points in that game week across both the matches because
he came off the bench. He came off the bench in one of the games and blanked in the other. So both those games were away, and he hadn't blanked in an away game before that. But FPL as it is, just when he captain him, he blanks in both of them. So
yes, but going into this game week, Rashford is again a great pick when it comes to captain. Of course, you may not. If you have Rashford and Bruno in your team, then yeah, it's better to go with Bruno because he's on penalties as well. But with Rashford, if he's explosive on that particular day, he can outscore anybody in this league. And so does Salah, for example. Even Salah is very explosive. And Harry Kane, I don't know what to say. I think he's a brilliant player, probably under the wrong manager. Just because I see them, I see this team defending so much, even against Wolfsburger last night in the Europa. Yeah. Even if they scored, in the highlights you would see Dele Alli scoring with that wonderful bicycle. But the moment he scored that goal, the first thing Spurs ended up doing was defend, and they started defending very deep. So that's something. But yes, Harry Kane, he doesn't need a lot of chances. His statistics will show you that he, out of somewhere, he's gonna shoot, and it might end up being in the back of the net. So not a bad choice at all, especially
also
because of the. Yeah, he's a forward. Everybody else in this list is a midfielder, and we all know when a striker scores a goal, the bonus points favors him a little bit more because of the algorithm that BTS has. So that's the scene. I think brilliant choices, boys. But I won't be surprised if everybody turns and changes their card to Bruno.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
it be
that
wonderful to see all of them Bruno, 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 Bruno?
I'm sure given the fixtures that are upcoming, there might be certainly one game week wherein we have all of the same captain picks, and that remains to be seen. Yeah, was great chatting as always. Hopefully, double game week 26 does fare well, and we get to see more centuries. Even though Anand does not consider centuries in double game weeks,
He's
but
actually considering a double century.
Yeah.
So a century with a double.
Maybe definitely would be great to see. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting our channel. Please do click the like button and share and subscribe this to our channel. It does help us a lot. All of our social media links are down in the description. We hope you enjoyed this episode of FPL Escapades. As always, have a good one, and may the arrows be green.
Yes.
Peace.